Hi, this is Andrew for Geek News Central, and we're continuing our coverage of the OnePlus Nord 2 with a look at the ambient display settings. This was suggested by one of the commentators, and I'm only too happy to oblige. And for those of you who are wondering what is the ambient display, it's sometimes also known as the always-on display or the always-on screen, and it's what you see when, if you turn the phone off here, and let's just tap on here, you get this kind of monochrome view of the phone, so just with the date and time and perhaps a message and battery status. Apologies for the reflection down here. So that's the ambient display, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the settings involved. Now there is a bit of crossover between, let me see if I can get rid of the reflection, that's better. There is a bit of crossover between some of the display settings, between personalizations, ambient display and display and brightness. So what we'll actually do is take a quick run through all of these to help people understand where the overlap is. But let's start with ambient display, as it's the main request. And you can kind of see here it's broken up into, I guess, 3 sections. We've got what's called the somatic gesture. Now that's actually what you'd have to do to actually show the if you like, the information or that ambient display. You can pick up the phone to show, so it obviously registers from the accelerometers, or you can tap the screen to show. And that's pretty much what I was doing earlier when I was just demonstrating the feature. I tapped on the screen and it came on. Now you can control when the ambient display shows. Really this will, you know, if we turn it to off, then we just really have to manually bring that on. If we set it to, and you know, we do that by picking up the phone or by tapping on the screen. If it's in power saving, it will show whilst the phone is not quite in use, but it's, you know, it's been used recently. But once the phone has been stationary for a while, it will actually turn the display off. So that's probably a good idea if you're wanting to conserve your battery, but you still want some of the benefits. We also have scheduled, which means that we can set it up to maybe only come on from, say, 9 o'clock in the morning through to let's say, where should we have, 8 o'clock at night, so that it doesn't perhaps bother you whilst you're in bed asleep. And so that's the scheduled one, and really the last one is all day, which effectively means that it's on all the time. And if I turn off the phone, hopefully it rewards me by telling me that yes, so there it is. So I didn't have to do anything that time, didn't have to tap the button, it was automatically there. Okay. So then we have a section here in terms of what we can show. Well, it has what they call contextual information. So that might be music you're currently playing or any upcoming events. You also saw the fingerprint icon there at the bottom, just about here, showing you where you have to press your thumb on or whatever thing you've chosen to turn it on. You've also got a display message, so you probably noticed that on the screen. So I've just set that to Geek News Central. And then we've also got new notifications, show notifications on the ambient display. So I'm assuming that's things like somebody called or you've received a text message. So those are the basic elements for the ambient display. And I think you can probably see, again, if I turn this off, you'll see those elements appear. So there's the message, there's the fingerprint, and at the moment I don't have any upcoming appointments. Oops. Okay, so those are really the options for the ambient display, and let's just see what else there is. So in terms of, let's look at personalizations first. You can kind of see that there are some things which might impact on here. We've got the clock on the ambient display there, so you can actually choose a number of features associated with the clock, and whether you want it, you know, you've got the different styles of clock here. You've got this, I always quite like this one, where it's a wordy clock. And you've got your analog clock and a whole load of different options there, from relatively complicated through to quite minimalist, and some of them again are quite fun. And then you've got your digital clock. So I'm going to change it over to this one because I was thinking this one's quite a fun one. And there you can kind of see how it might be laid out on the ambient display as it is at the moment. Okay. Other features you've got here, we've got the various wallpapers that you can choose from. Now this obviously isn't directly related to the ambient display, but it just gives you an idea of what's available on the Nord 2. You've got your fingerprint display. Again, we did see this very briefly on the ambient display. I think it looks like it's set to some of the, well, what should we set it to? That one looks quite good. Let's try that one for a while. Oh yes. You can also choose between two different icon packs. You've got your oxygen or your hydrogen. I think most people probably say that, leave that on the oxygen if you're in the UK. So you can also choose different colours for some of the menu items and things like that. So you've got red and the black, or you can choose something like the purple. Choose it to suit whatever you like. You can also choose different fonts. There's two options. There's font size and there's display size. So font size really just controls the font, whereas display size not only controls the font size, it also adjusts other elements which might be on the screen. So you can generally choose between Roboto, OnePlus Sans and a Sans Adaptive. This is purely your personal preference. So let's just apply that. You've also got your notification drawer. What do you want? So that's this bit up here. So you can choose the elements and the different shapes and whether you want them to be squares, and there you go. And the squircles. Oops, change that squares. Change it. Yep. So there you can see them changed up there as well. And then you've got your horizon light. So for those of you who don't know, the horizon light is that strip down the side. You can choose between blue, red or gold. I like the blue personally, so we'll just stick with that. So those are some of the options you get to choose with personalizations. Some have an impact on the ambient display, some don't, but you'll get the hang of it. And then let's just have a quick look at display and brightness. So here we've got your controls to do with, as it says, display and brightness. So you can choose between dark mode or light mode. You can also auto switch, so it'll transfer over to dark mode at sunset. You've got things like the brightness of the backlight and whether you have it on auto or not. And then you've got various options around things like eye comfort, whether you want the eye comfort feature always on or whether you want it to schedule, and then you can adjust the white temperature to suit whatever you like. And you can obviously go from quite blue colours through to quite warm colours. Let's just turn that on. Yeah, so you have to turn it on to really see it. And that's obviously super warm, and that's obviously a bit bluer. I'd probably go for something that seems to have. Let's just turn it off and let it reset itself. But you get the idea. You can choose from the blueness through to the redness. What else have we got here? You've got various other controls for auto rotation. Usually have that turned on. You've got auto screen, so it turns itself off after so many minutes. So let's just set it to 10. Now I don't know what adaptive sleep is. This is new. I'm not sure what that is. Very interesting. I'll have to look that up and see what it is. You've also got the screen color temperature. Again, this is just for normal use, so again you can see that blueness through to the warmness. Very similar to the eye comfort settings. This one here, the eye comfort one, is probably one that you'd use perhaps when you're getting ready to go to sleep, whereas this one here is just really the standard color that you prefer for your Nord 2. In terms of screen color modes, you can choose between these two. You've got your vivid and your gentle. So they're the two options you have there. We've then got video enhancement. You can sharpen the images to do with videos. In the previous version of OnePlus's operating system, I really didn't like this, and I tended to have the video sharpening turned off. In effect, it is entirely up to you. You can have a wee look and see what suits you the best. Now, it does take more battery to actually achieve this, so again, it's your call as to whether battery life or video sharpness is more important. You've got color boost, which is the same kind of thing, but just free for images, not just. So let's have a look at this. So you can kind of see the video color boosting a bit there. It's a bit like the one up here where we've got the screen color, which is just for, if you like, almost like for still images. This one here is really for the color within videos. Okay. Again, it's whether you like it or not, it's up to you. We've already talked about the fonts on the display side. That's why I was kind of saying a little bit how there's always overlap between different areas. And let's see what's in mode. Okay, in more rather. You've got your screen refresh rate. You can choose between your 60 or your 90 Hertz, entirely up to you. And then you've got the business of whether you want to adjust the size of the screen to cover the pinhole camera at the top. And you can either adjust that so that the screen takes up the whole space, or whether it puts a little black bit at the top. There's also some options around the displaying the camera using the app, you know, on a per app basis. So that's an option there as well. And you can also set yourself a screensaver, which will kick in, I think, when the phone is docked and powered up, or rather it's being charged. All right, so I mean, that's really the quick summary of all the options around things like the ambient display, personalization, and display and brightness. Hopefully you found that useful. To be honest, there's nothing like getting in there and fiddling with them yourself. So I appreciate that some people perhaps don't have the most recent Android as 11.3. So as far as I can tell, there's only a few changes there between 11.2, which is on things like the OnePlus 9, and the new version, which has the 11.3 and has some of those new versions. Okay, look, this is Andrew for Geek News Central, continuing our coverage of the Nord 2. Thanks very much.